No one may believe in you today. But listen carefully. The day you keep going without applause is the day you begin to become someone different. Maybe you are watching this because deep inside you are tired. Tired of explaining your dream to people who only see your limits. Tired of speaking about your plans and receiving silence. Tired of looking for support in the eyes of people you love and finding doubt instead. You try to smile, but when the room becomes quiet, you ask yourself one painful question. What if they are right? What if I am not enough? What if this dream is too big for someone like me? But stay with me, because what comes next is important. A moment when no one believes in you is not the end of your story. It may be the beginning of the strongest chapter of your life. Because when nobody claps, when nobody encourages you, when nobody sees what you see, you are forced to meet a deeper version of yourself. A version that does not depend on permission. A version that does not wait for approval. A version that learns to walk in the dark before the light appears. If this kind of message speaks to you, consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Here, we share simple life lessons, inspired by great minds, human struggles, and the quiet wisdom we need in everyday life. Now let us be honest. It hurts when people do not believe in you. It hurts more when those people are close to you. A stranger's doubt can be ignored, but the doubt of a family member, a friend, a teacher, or a colleague can enter the heart like a small knife. You tell them about your idea, and they look at you as if you are dreaming too much. You tell them you want to change your life, and they remind you of the past. You tell them you want to build something, and they ask you who you think you are. And this is where many people stop. Not because they have no talent, not because they have no possibility, but because the voice of others becomes louder than the voice inside them. They start to shrink. They start to lower their goals. They start to say, maybe I should be realistic. But sometimes what people call realistic is just fear wearing a serious face. But here is what most people never understand. When someone does not believe in you, it does not always mean you are wrong. Sometimes it means they are seeing you through the limits of their own experience. They are not looking at your future. They are looking at your past. They remember who you were. They remember your mistakes. They remember your unfinished attempts. They remember the days when you were confused, weak, or unsure. And because they knew that version of you, they struggle to imagine the person you are becoming. But you are not only your past. You are not only your mistakes. You are not only the version of yourself that failed before. You are also the person who learned. You are also the person who survived. You are also the person who is still here. Still trying, still breathing, still carrying a small fire inside. Think about this for a moment. Every great change begins as something invisible. Before a tree becomes strong, it is a seed under the ground. nobody applauds the seed. Nobody sees its roots growing in the darkness. Nobody says, "Look how powerful this seed is becoming." But the seed does not wait to be seen. It grows quietly. It pushes through the soil. It fights with stones. It moves toward the light before anyone knows it exists. And maybe that is where you are right now. You are in the invisible stage. You are growing roots. You are learning skills. You are making mistakes. You are trying to understand yourself. You are building something that is not yet visible to others. And because they cannot see the result, they think nothing is happening. But something is happening. Deep inside you, something is being formed. Stay with me, because this is the part that can change the way you see your struggle. Most people only believe in results. They believe when they see money. They believe when they see success. They believe when they see applause. Numbers, trophies, degrees, followers, or, but before recognition, there is a silent season. A season where you work and nobody notices. A season where you improve and nobody cares. A season where you fight battles nobody knows about. That silent season is not punishment. It is preparation. When nobody believes in you, life is asking you a question. Can you believe in yourself without evidence that others respect? Can you keep going when the world gives you no proof? Can you trust the process when your hands are empty? Can you continue when your progress is slow, private, and misunderstood? Because the truth is simple but difficult. If your dream needs everyone's approval to survive, it is not yet strong enough. Your dream must learn to breathe in silence. Your confidence must learn to stand without a crowd. Your discipline must work even when nobody is watching. Maybe you are a student and people tell you that you are not smart enough. Maybe you failed an exam and now everyone looks at you as if your future is already decided. But a bad result is information, not identity. It tells you what needs work. It does not tell you what you can become. Maybe you are at work and your ideas are ignored. You speak and no one listens. But do not confuse being ignored with being worthless. Sometimes your value is present long before the room is ready to see it. Maybe you are building a personal project, a channel, a business, a skill, a new life. You share it with people and they laugh politely. They say, "That is interesting," but you can feel that they do not believe it. They ask how many views you have, how much money you made, how fast it is growing. They measure your beginning with the standards of someone else's finish line. And this is the moment where everything changes. You must decide whether you will let their doubt become your identity, or whether you will let it become your fuel. Not angry fuel, not bitter fuel, not the kind that says, "I will prove them wrong because I hate them." That energy burns fast and leaves the heart tired. The stronger fuel is quiet. It says, "I will continue because I respect the person I am becoming. It says, I will work because this matters. To me, it says, I do not need everyone to understand my path in order to walk it. There is a deep wisdom in continuing without applause. It teaches you purity. It forces you to ask, why am I really doing this? If you only wanted attention, silence will break you. If you only wanted praise, criticism will destroy you. But if your reason is deeper, if your dream is connected to your growth, your purpose, your future, or the service you want to give to others, then silence becomes a teacher. But here is another truth many people avoid. Sometimes people do not believe in you because they are trying to protect you. They do not want to see you suffer. They do not want you to fail. Their doubt may come from love, but love mixed with fear can still become a cage. They may say, be careful, but what they mean is, I am afraid for you. They may say, choose something safe, but what they mean is, I do not want you to be hurt. You can respect their concern without obeying their fear. That sentence is important. You can listen with kindness, but still choose your path. You do not need to fight everyone who doubts you. You do not need to argue with every person who cannot see your vision. Sometimes the wisest answer is not a speech. Sometimes the wisest answer is consistent action, because action has a language that doubt cannot easily answer. When you show up every day, even quietly, you begin to build evidence. When you improve a little, again and again, you begin to change the story. When you keep your promise to yourself, you become harder to defeat. Not because others suddenly believe in you, but because you have stopped needing their belief to begin. Stay with me, because this next idea is one of the most important lessons in life. You cannot build your future using the emotional permission of people who are not willing to build with you. If they are not carrying the weight, they should not control the direction. If they are not doing the work, they should not decide the size of your dream. They cannot fully understand the calling that keeps you awake at night. This does not mean you should reject advice. Wise people listen. Wise people learn. Wise people accept correction. But there is a difference between advice and discouragement. Advice gives you tools. Discouragement gives you fear. Advice says, here is how you can improve. Discouragement says, you cannot do it. Advice respects your possibility. Discouragement attacks your identity. Learn to know the difference. Sometimes, when nobody believes in you, you begin to over-explain. You speak too much. You try to convince people with long messages, long conversations, long justifications. You show them your plan. You show them your reasons. You show them your heart. And still, they do not understand. So you feel even more tired. But there comes a moment when you must stop explaining and start building. Not everyone deserves access to the early version of your dream. Not everyone can handle your beginning. Some people will criticize the seed because they do not understand the tree. Some people will laugh at the foundation because they cannot imagine the house. Some people will judge the first step because they only respect the final destination. Protect your beginning. Protect your energy. Protect the quiet work that is still fragile. You do not have to announce everything. You do not have to prove every intention. You do not have to defend every dream before it has had time to grow. And this is not about arrogance. It is about wisdom. A dream at the beginning is like a small flame. If you expose it to too much wind, it may disappear. But if you protect it, feed it, and give it time, one day it becomes a fire that cannot be ignored. So ask yourself, what is the small flame inside you? What is the thing you keep thinking about? What is the idea that returns to your mind, even after people laugh? What is the path that still calls you, even when you try to forget it? That may be the place where your future is, asking for courage. But courage is not always loud. Sometimes courage is waking up and trying again after a night full of doubt. Sometimes courage is opening the book after failing the test. Sometimes courage is recording another video when the last one received only a sometimes few courage views. Is applying again after rejection. Sometimes courage is staying kind when people misunderstand you. Sometimes courage is continuing with tears in your eyes. Do not underestimate quiet courage. The world celebrates dramatic victories, but most real victories are built in ordinary moments when you feel tired, practicing when nobody is watching, learning when others are sleeping, choosing discipline when motivation is gone, saying no to distractions, starting again after embarrassment. These are not small things. These are the bricks of a stronger life. But here is the danger. When nobody believes in you, you may begin to believe that success is the only way to heal. You may tell yourself one day, when I make it, they will respect me. One day, when I succeed, they will regret doubting me. And yes, success can be beautiful. Recognition can feel good. But do not build your whole life around the need to make others regret. Your peace is more important than their reaction. The goal is not to become successful so that they feel small. The goal is to become whole so that their doubt no longer controls you. The goal is to build a life where you respect yourself. The goal is to become proud of your effort, your patience, your growth, and your honesty. If applause comes, receive it with gratitude. If it does not, keep your inner dignity. Because the strongest person is not the one everyone believes in. The strongest person is the one who learns to grow before anyone else understands. Let us go deeper. Why do people doubt others? Sometimes because they are afraid. Sometimes because they failed in their own dreams, and now they think dreams are sometimes dangerous because your courage reminds them of the courage they did not use. Sometimes because they know the old you and cannot imagine the new you. Sometimes because they love you but do not understand your vision. And sometimes because they are simply not meant to walk with you in that season. That last part is difficult, but it is real. Not everyone can accompany you to the next version of your life. Some people knew you in one chapter, and they will keep speaking to you as if you are still there. They will call you by the name of your past. They will remind you of what you used to be. They will try to pull you back into the small box where they feel comfortable understanding you. But growth often requires disappointing the expectations of people who benefited from a smaller version of you. Read that again in your heart. Growth often requires disappointing the expectations of people who benefited from if they liked you more when you were afraid they may not understand you when you become brave. If they felt comfortable when you stayed silent, they may criticize you when you find your voice. If they expected you to remain the same, your transformation may feel like a problem to them. But your life was not given to you only to make others comfortable. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want more peace, more meaning, more skill, more freedom, more strength, more dignity. You are allowed to leave behind the version of yourself that survived and become the version of yourself that lives. Stay with me now, because this is where many people make a mistake. They wait for confidence before they begin. They say, "When I feel ready, I will start. When I feel supported, I will move. When people believe in me, I will take the risk." But confidence does not always come before action. Often, confidence comes after you keep promises to yourself. You do not become confident by thinking about courage. You become confident by acting with courage in small ways. You study one page, you write one paragraph, you record one video, you practice one skill and another you take, and slowly one step your mind begins to say, "Maybe I can trust myself." It's not a magic feeling, self-belief. It is a relationship with yourself. And every time you say you will do something and you do it, that relationship becomes stronger. Every time you give up on yourself, it becomes weaker. So if no one believes in you, begin there. Do not try to convince the whole world. Convince yourself through action. Make small promises and keep them. Not big dramatic promises that you cannot sustain. Small promises. Today, I will practice for 30 minutes. Today, I will read 2 pages. Today, I will improve one detail. Today, I will not quit. Today, I will speak to myself with respect. Today, I will move forward, even if the step is small. Small steps are not weak. Small steps are how mountains are climbed. But there will be days when you feel completely alone. Days when you see others receiving support, and you wonder why your path feels so heavy. You see someone's family cheering for. You see someone's friends promoting their work. You see people getting opportunities, attention, encouragement, and you ask, help. Why not me? If that is you, listen to this. It is okay to feel hurt. Support matters. Kind words matter. We are need human to feel seen. But the absence of support does not mean the absence of destiny. It means your path is asking you to develop a strength that does not collapse when people are silent. And one day, that strength will serve you, because crowds are unstable. Attention people support you today, comes and goes, and forget you tomorrow. But the strength you build in solitude stays with you. The discipline you build in silence stays with you. The self-respect you build when nobody is Watching stays with you. This is why the lonely season can become sacred. It removes the noise. It reveals your real reason. It teaches you to hear your own voice. It shows you who truly supports you and who only appears when the results are. But do not become hard. That is important. Do not let disappointment turn you into someone cold. Do not let doubt make you hate people. Do not let lack of support remove your kindness. You can be strong and still gentle. You can be focused and still humble. You can protect your energy and still wish others well. The goal is not to become bitter. The goal is to become free. Freedom begins when you stop asking every person to validate your existence. Freedom begins when you stop measuring your future by the reactions of people who cannot see it. Freedom begins when you understand that some visions are given to you before they are understood by others. And here is a practical truth. If you want people to believe in you, do not begin by asking for belief. Begin by becoming consistent. Consistency is a quiet argument. It does not shout. It does not beg. It simply appears again and again until doubt becomes tired. You do not need to make a big announcement. You need a system. You need habits that support the person you want to become. If you want to write, write every day. If you want to speak better, practice every day. If you want to build a channel, create regularly. If you want to change your mind, read, reflect, and choose better thoughts. If you want to change your life, stop waiting for a perfect mood. Because motivation is a visitor, discipline is a home. That sentence matters. Discipline is a home. Motivation may come in the morning and leave by night. Motivation may appear after a video, a quote, a conversation, or a beautiful. Discipline is what remains when motivation disappears. Discipline is what says, I do not feel ready, but I will do the work. Is what says, discipline, I am afraid, but I will take the next step. Discipline says is what they do not believe, but I will continue. Now imagine your future self looking back at you. Imagine that version of you standing years from now, stronger, wiser, calmer. What would that person say to you today? Would they say, stop because they laughed? Would they say, quit because they did not understand? Would they say, abandon the path because it is lonely? No, your future self would probably say, please keep going. I exist because you did not stop. I exist because you survived the silence. I exist because you continued when nobody clapped. I exist because you chose faith over fear, action over shame, and patience over the for quick approval need. And this is the moment where everything becomes personal. You are not just working for a result. You are working for the person you are becoming. Every time you continue, you vote for that future self. Every time you practice, you vote for that future self. Every time you stand up after doubt, you vote for that future self. Do not betray that person just because someone today cannot see them. Many people will only understand your dream after it becomes obvious. They will call you lucky after they ignored your effort. They will call you talented after they missed your practice. They will act surprised, but you will remember the nights, the small steps, and how hard it was to continue. And when that day comes, do not waste your energy saying, I told you. Let your peace speak let your work speak. Let your life speak. The deepest victory is not proving others wrong. The deepest victory is proving to yourself that you were worthy of your own belief. But until then, what should you do? You continue, not perfectly. You not continue loudly, honestly. Not. You continue always confidently. Structure. You continue with learning. You continue by improving. Continue with humility. Needs improvement. You continue by accepting feedback without accepting humiliation. You continue by staying close to people who strengthen your spirit and stepping back for people who drain it. And you must be careful with your inner voice, because when others do not believe in you, their doubt can become an echo in your mind. You may begin to speak to yourself the way they spoke to you. You may say, I am not good enough. I always fail. I am too late. I am too old. I am too young. I do not have what it takes. These sentences may sound like your thoughts, but often they are borrowed voices. Return them. Return every voice that told you you were nothing. Return every sentence that made you feel small. Return every label that was placed on you by people who saw only one chapter. You do not have to carry words that were spoken from fear, ignorance, jealousy, or replace them with something misunderstanding. More honest. Say, I am learning. Say, I am growing. Say, I am not finished. I can improve. Say, my beginning does not define my ending. I do not need everyone to believe in me today. I need to take the next step today. This is not empty positivity. It is discipline. Your mind is the place where your future is either protected or destroyed. If you let every doubt enter and build a home inside you, you will become tired before the journey truly begins. But if you learn to guard your mind, you become more stable. You can hear doubt without obeying it. You can feel fear without becoming it. You can receive criticism without losing your identity. Stay with me for this final truth, because it is the heart of everything. When no one believes in you, life is giving you a rare opportunity. The opportunity to become your own witness, to see your effort, to respect, to say your struggle. Even if no one sees me, I see me. Even if no one encourages me, I will not abandon myself. That is because many people spend their whole lives waiting to be chosen, waiting for someone to say, you are ready. But sometimes you must choose yourself before anyone else does. Not because you are perfect. Not because you know everything. Not because success is guaranteed, but because your life deserves your participation. You cannot control who believes in you. You cannot control who supports you. You cannot control who understands your dream. You cannot control who claps, who leaves, who laughs, or who stays silent. But you can control whether you continue. You can control whether you learn. You can control whether you show up. You can control whether you let doubt make you smaller or wiser. And if you continue long enough, something beautiful happens. You stop begging for belief. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing the room to agree before you move. You become calm, focused, less interested in explaining and more interested in. You become less afraid of silence because you have learned how much can grow there. One day, the people who did not believe in you may see the result. Some may be proud. Some may be surprised. Some may never admit they were wrong. But by then, it will not matter in the same way. Because the greatest transformation will not be outside you, it will be inside you. You will know that you can survive doubt. You will know that you can walk alone for a season. You will know that silence does not mean failure. You will know that the absence of applause does not mean the absence of progress. You will know that belief is not something you wait for. It is something you build. So if no one believes in you right now, breathe. Do not panic. Do not stop. Do not let this season convince you that you are unworthy. Use the silence. Use the loneliness. Use the disappointment. Use not the to pain. Become bitter, but to become disciplined, not to hate people, but to understand yourself, not to prove your value, but to live from it. Keep learning. Keep improving. Keep walking even if the road is becoming. Empty. Keep planting even if no one sees the seed. Keep showing up even if the applause is missing. Because the work you do in silence may become the reason your life speaks loudly one day. Remember this: they do not have to believe in you for your story to begin. They do not have to understand your vision for it to be real. They do not have to see your future for you to walk toward it. Believe quietly, work patiently, grow deeply, and one day, when the results begin to appear, you will not only be proud of what you achieved, you will be proud of the person who kept going when no one believed. And that person is you.